And it leaves me kind of in the middle of things. I realize that tonight's meeting may not be comfortable, and I may be making decisions for the 17th that I don't know the ramifications for. So I'm leaving. And maybe both sides can unite, because next Tuesday, 7:30 is the 17th district meeting. Get together and vote me out. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, Chairman, I'd like to move to suspend the rules. I move to suspend the rules to remove the chair for failure to follow Robert's Rules of Order at the September 2nd special meeting and processing appeals.
I second.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, could you check that motion? Could you read that?
Will you read the motion for us?
Could you read the motion, Mr. Chairman? I didn't quite get that. Did you?
No. The motion was made by Karen.
You're not reading the motion?
The motion was made by Karen. Why are you stuttering? Like, what are you trying to get at, Jeff?
Did you have the?
I don't
Do you
follow.
want me to reread it?
Yeah.
You don't
Okay.
follow it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I move to suspend the rules to remove the chair for failure to follow Robert's Rules of Order at the September 2nd special meeting and processing appeals. And it's been seconded.
Okay.
Okay, so where are we at with that?
Let's see here.
Does that mean,
Well, Mr. Chairman, I believe the motion needs to be read into the record.
Yeah, I'm going to follow Tom's lead. If Jimmy and Leslie and Joel and Stacy feel like joining me, I think this meeting doesn't need to take place tonight without a full board. Therefore, I think we can leave, and there won't any longer be a quorum. Have to clean up, guys.
I make a motion to convene this meeting at a date set tonight by the board, minus David and Tom.
Hey, Jimmy, Joel.
Do I have a second?
Guys, come on, they're just no
to
longer.
reconvene
second.
another time?
Like 7 o'clock?
Jimmy,
I believe
we
7
didn't even do
p.m.
roll call, people, and so
Mr. Chairman, you have left the room.
I haven't done roll call yet, but
You're not
here's the-
presiding, you just resided your chair.
But this meeting, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you guys. I apologize that you don't have a quorum set, but have a good night.
Well, we need 6 for quorum.
2,
3, 4, 5.
I'm not a voting.
No, we have 5. We do not have quorum, they walked out.
You need 6 voting members?
Correct.
Yes, they broke quorum.
Mhm.
They did not want this meeting to happen. We cannot even schedule another meeting. So 5 members can go ahead and make the motion and sign a petition to have a meeting at a later date,
But
correct?
we have that petition already for the meeting right now.
Correct, but we would like to have a board, we still need a board meeting. Am I correct? So Joe?
So a motion by you.
I'm not very good at parliamentary procedure
But the only
here.
thing that can be scheduled is the next meeting. Yeah.
We can call for a special
Yeah.
board meeting.
Right, so the 5 of us can have another special board meeting.
So you took Jim Johnson?
Correct.
Jimmy left?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jimmy left.
yeah, if Jimmy had stayed.
Jimmy left and Tom left.
Tom left, he called for Jimmy and for Stacy and for Joel.
But Joel's still here, because I'm wondering what's going on.
You just don't
Well, it should
understand
be
what
pretty
you eat.
obvious.
That's the problem. You can sit down.
Yeah, eat.
I mean, I'm not a voting member, so my presence really, it
It
doesn't
doesn't
affect
change.
one way or
You-
another.
Yeah,
right?
you're welcome to make motions and
Yeah.
second and discuss and debate. You're welcome to stay to see what happens here. The meeting, what, the
no business can take
broken was, I mean, quorum was
Quorum was
broken.
broken.
Broken was formed, and so as a result, no business, not even adjournment can happen.
Well,
We could leave, but it's not.
Oh, I see your point.
It's not adjourned.
Is there technically even a meeting?
Doesn't have to be.
Oh, we don't usually
Actual
take
orders.
We had a quorum though.
We had a quorum. He recognized
We
the
don't have to take roll
quorum.
call. We've never taken roll call except for that one time, was the last time.
Yes.
There was a quorum when the chairman called it to order. Make sure that,
yeah, there
Madam
we go.
Secretary, please put in the minutes that the call to order of this meeting was conducted and that
There was a quorum.
we did in fact do the pledge and the prayer, and that a quorum was determined.
The motion was made and seconded, but never called for a vote.
Yeah, I do have the motion here.
And it was seconded, and then there was a walkout.
I still am failing to understand how a quorum is established if you do not take roll call.
He can't call to order without a quorum.
And he called the order.
He called to order a meeting. He wouldn't call to order a meeting without a quorum, nothing can happen.
Well, you don't know if you have a quorum until you take roll call. That's how it-
Well, we've never done that at a board meeting, so no one called for a roll call. It has been tradition that when the chairman calls to order the meeting, it is because there is a quorum. He wouldn't be able to do anything or call to order if we don't have a quorum. And please, Madam Secretary, I ask that you put into the minutes the people that were present at the call to order, please. Minus Clyde Holland, all board members were present, including the executives, including Joel, Jeremy, and Stacy. And Madam Secretary, after that, if you could please.
So he closed the meeting at 6:42.
Well, he walked out, you can't say closed. He walked
Well,
out.
he said, I
And-
closed the
and
meeting. Did he say
please-
he closed the meeting?
He put a quote, you need, Madam Secretary, if you could please put a quote in there from David, saying that if Leslie, Jimmy, and others would like to,
And Joel, he asked Joel.
and Joel would like to leave, they're welcome to Joel's stage. Please make, enter that into the minutes.
Joel wasn't going to leave the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you so much.
Did he mention your name?
Yes, I
Karen,
do believe so.
he did not close the meeting, it was closed by the break of the quorum.
Oh, okay.
No.
Wow, interesting.
Par for the course. Chairman brings one, just carrying on. Being expressed, that's on precedent.
So I'm curious, do you think, Suzanne, let's see, Piper, and the board members at this table right now, if we can ask if the audience has any questions from the board and maybe have a little discussion?
You can have, yeah, we just can't conduct any business, but
Right.
we can
I mean,
have an
You guys can
informal.
ask all kinds of stuff.
Right, you can, I mean, we're here, you're here.
I've got some documents happy to share around.
We are inviting you to the table. There's obviously
Room
no
and snacks.
business going to be conducted at this point because the chairman has broken quorum and has influenced other members of the body of the board to leave. So,
Well,
do you
I'm
have any
curious if you
questions?
guys, do you have any questions? Maureen?
Well, thank you for knowing my name. That's awesome. I love it. Okay, so what you read, I didn't exactly understand
Well, let me
what it
explain my
meant.
motion. So,
Just stand up and speak louder.
Thank you.
and I'm not going to take notes.
You guys, could you take the conversations outside, please? Yeah.
What's your email, Pete?
She opens it up for people to talk, man.
Okay. So I made a move to suspend the rules, which means we're going to shift stuff around. We're not going to go by the agenda. We're going to suspend the rules. And we're going to remove the chair, which means he's going to go sit right here and somebody else, we would pick a new chair to run the meeting.
Just for this meeting.
Just for the meeting.
Just for
the-
It's not for anything else, it's just for the meeting.
Okay.
And the reason why, I had to name a reason why, and the failure to follow Robert's Rules of Order, which is that's what conducts our meetings, is the Robert's Rule of Orders.
Who is this Robert?
That's this.
See, I am so new.
Been around for a couple hundred years.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, legal proceedings and.
This is good for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Robert's
thanks.
rules.
Universally
So I
accepted
said,
rules of
those
procedure.
are the rules, because those rules are the governing body of how the meeting goes forward.
Okay.
And then, because at the September 2nd, which on Saturday, we had this very hard-charged meeting, right? And we had asked at the beginning for an appeal of the board's decision, or the chair's decision. And that's absolutely, that's, the point of Robert's Rules of Orders is that every member is able to speak and to be heard and to be understood.
Okay.
And so once they said, we want to appeal the chair's decision, we asked for that, and he started yelling dilatory. Do you remember the dilatory?
I didn't see that part.
Well, I looked at what does dilatory mean afterwards, because I'm taking notes. I'm like, I don't even know what he's saying, but I wrote it down. And when I looked up dilatory, it was like asking needless questions. You don't need to know that. Well, Robert's Rules of Order says everybody gets to be heard, and yet here he is saying, no, that's dilatory. You can't ask that. And it's like, wait, Robert's Rules of Order says I can. So we were appealing his. We're saying that he failure to follow the Robert's Rules of Order for that meeting regarding processing of appeals, because we were appealing his decision regarding Leslie. See, Leslie resigned on August 2nd,
Oh, yeah.
and she sent a letter out, and, well, she resigned here, she was mad at us, and she yelled at us and said, I resign, I hate the party, I'm quitting the party, I'm going to finish my stuff, and I'm done. And then she left,
And she came
and then the very next day she said, to follow up for my resignation, I totally quit, I'm resigning, I'll do this, this, and this, and then I'm done. Don't talk to me. And so,
The day before the vote on September 2nd, she rescinded her resignation.
yeah. And so we were going to say, no, we appeal that because she resigned and we started looking for another chair. You found another chair, or a vice chair. You were going to hold this meeting to have this vice chair in. So you accepted the resignation by putting that motion forward and by having a meeting and by doing this. So
They
you
didn't have
actually
the meeting,
accepted it.
so you need to back up a little bit.
He
By
posted it,
suggesting he was gonna have the meeting, but you can't say by having the meeting, because he
He
hasn't
planned-
had the
he
meeting.
He
planned
put it
it
out there for
advertised.
anybody to run who wants to run.
I get it,
Yeah,
that
he
doesn't
planned
mean he
and
had the meeting.
Right, but he planned and advertised.
Other
and
people
then he was
maybe
looking
could have
for
been
other
planning on the run
candidates as
too.
well.
I get
Like,
it.
okay, I found a candidate, anybody else that wants to run, let me know.
That's true.
So in putting that message out, he did accept the resignation. But
That was as customary to
it's,
previous
and it's
resignations.
customary and standard practice. There's the rules and Robert's rules is you go by customary and standard. There's a, is that page
Yes.
652? So
The
customary and
resignation is
standard
effective
practice.
upon submission, that's what it says in there, and it's customary practice. Like Linda Wilson did and Steve Nelson did, they all resigned, nobody put a seal, I mean, what are you gonna do? Stop them from resigning? That would be so terrible, right? We're a friendly board, it's always been customary. May I say something regarding what you asked? In this body, our bylaws trump Robert's Rules of Order. Whenever the bylaws don't state something, then Robert's Rules of Order takes over, because bylaws were created in order to protect this board, and then Robert's Rules protects it further. Robert's Rules is so that the word and voice of the minority can be heard, but the will of the majority will prevail. So when there's a vote taken, that's what happens. And as a result, we have standard practices. So every time that we bring something to the board, we do our research and make sure that it's all covered by the rules. And we did it all by the rules, except that we were shouted down and we couldn't go any further.
Objection.
Yes.
I would like it if we could have this conversation without the adjectives. Clyde did not shout, David did not shout, Leslie did not shout, Tom Tangent did not shout, Jimmy Johnson did not shout, and we sat here and watched. So I'm going to suggest to you that to say David was yelling this, or to say we were shouted down, I would suggest that's an adjective. If we could use the
I agree.
English
I
language
apologize. I
without
take it
the
back.
adjectives, it would be a lot better. Let's stick to facts and data.
Right. I will take it back. Thank you, Carolyn.
Uh-huh.
What I'd like to say is that we were given the dilatory language per the legal counsel help to Clyde Holland from the Washington State Republican Party in order to shut down that meeting well in advance of any discussion to be had. Our desire at the end of the whole thing, when Clyde Holland made his motion, which we were not aware that he's going to make, it was exactly what we wanted. but the problem is, it wasn't in resolution format. So later on in the meeting, on September 2nd, this Saturday, we were interested in putting it in resolution format. Even Leslie and Clyde amended it, so it's polite language. And we have to have a cause in there. So we put the cause in there based on our policy. And we were, by our bylaws, and we were going to very politely present the resolution to the PCO so that the PCOs have a chance to vote. When you suspend the rules, you need a 2/3 vote in order to allow this to proceed. By one vote, we lost, which you are privy to.
And do you want to know what we
I
did
got a
Saturday?
question.
Go ahead.
You had mentioned just a couple minutes ago that the purpose of Robert's Rules of Order and the bylaws is to allow a minority voice to be heard, but for the majority to prevail. Now you have a circumstance here, based both on what happened today and what happened last time, in which it appears that the minority, which was either 3 votes or 4 votes, depending on whether you count a zombie vote or not, against 7, yet it appears that now you have a situation where this 3 or 4 vote minority can frustrate the will of the 7 vote majority more or less forever. Am I misreading that, or what's going on?
That's what
you mean
Robert's
he could just
Rules of
keep doing
Order
this
does
for
regularly.
perpetuity?
Right.
And we were actually missing a board
That's what
member.
it does all the time.
George Hacker wasn't here either.
Oh, actually, if we have other board members, one's out of state on business.
George
And
Hacker's
Clyde
gone,
didn't
Clyde
show up.
Holland.
And
So we
Clyde
had
can
2
come. So
missing
we actually
board
have
members.
other people, if these 3 don't want to come to the next meeting and participate, we have a quorum. So a quorum is a majority.
Yeah, but how do you know those folks won't walk out too?
Yeah, we don't know that, and they have the right to do this, and we as a board have an appeal process to what just happened, and that is to call another meeting. As you saw, I was trying to call another meeting. We don't have a majority, so we cannot call another meeting at this point. But 5 members can sign a petition to have another special meeting like we had on Saturday to deal with this issue. And so that probably will happen, and we should probably be drafting our petition and having the signatures before we leave today in order to make sure that a special board meeting to happen. And it's sad that this happened because much like David wants to continue working on elections, I mean, I don't know if you know this, as a state committee woman, this last state central committee meeting that happened Saturday prior, David and I and Joe went up there and we did what we could to get all the information from WSRP to get walk lists to the PCO. So we have that in our it was on the agenda to be presented today. We have to be able to do business, to give our PCOs walk lists. We can't do that without approving it by the board. There are a tremendous amount of business that we had to conduct today, and because of this action, we're going to have another special board meeting.
Is there some way you can replace board members? Let me finish, please, Council.
Sorry.
Is there some way you can replace board members who are being deliberately obstructive via an action of the PCOs with ones who are more willing to actually sit down and get things done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is, in our bylaws, I think it's
Oh, the poor attendance one?
Article 6, Section 2B.
Yeah, that takes 3 months.
If the PCOs feel that somebody's not performing their duties or feel that for whatever reason they want or want to replace anybody, they can get a petition of 50% of the PCOs that are sitting right now to sign a petition to present to the board to call a special PCO meeting to vote on someone's removal.
You mean 50% of all the PCOs
That are
and the ones that
elected.
never show up?
Yes.
Yep,
All
Correct.
50% of every PCO that is
That
That's
Stay
either,
here.
in a sitting seat.
That document?
That's in our bylaws, which is.
Plus
located
one
on the
vote.
website.
Is that this?
Okay.
And then, so once you get
Is that this?
50% of the
Yeah.
signatures, which is
That
gonna be
stays in
about
this.
90 PCOs to sign on, then you would bring
Oh,
it to
yeah,
the board.
it's-
And if the chair doesn't call the meeting that the PCOs are demanding, then it would go to the vice chair, which we don't have, so then it would go to the secretary and go down the line.
Clarify the petition and call a special meeting not earlier than 10 days and not later than 21 days from receipt of the petition. So everything that she said is right here.
it's also online.
I'm sorry, yeah, and it's online. Oh, good point. It's
Click on
online.
your website.
Now, failing to do that, when would the next regular PCO meeting happen anyway, or is that up to the chair?
October.
Yeah, at this moment, we have an October 21st on the board.
And you want to
On
build
the-
a short
on the-
removal?
So if I could take this to something you said you had important business to do, we couldn't get walking lists and all this other stuff. The Central Committee already voted and endorsed and based on our bylaws and our policies, we can get all the walking lists we need.
Right.
So we
from
don't
the county
need,
part.
we don't need this meeting to have occurred for the
Get those.
PCOs to function.
Right.
I'm just making that very clear
Right,
because
right.
we're going to go out and elect Republicans.
That's important.
Oh, yeah.
And so what you just said had led us to believe we weren't going to be able to get our walking list. I want to make it very clear, we got our walking list.
And that you can create those also, right?
Yes,
Is that
in
part of
the
your
last
function?
central committee meeting, were you, anybody there? I mentioned if you would like to have the county walking list, please let me know and I'll be happy to help you get as much information. But at that point, we only had Nation Builder access. We didn't have the WSRP stuff. So I was interested
So
in
now we
giving
have a new
you.
list.
Yeah, and I'm not withholding it either, so.
No, I understand.
Any
I've got
information
the
that you
WSRP
might want, I will
stuff.
be happy to.
Carolyn, do you have any questions, like directly?
Actually, no, I think I'm pretty clear on everything. Okay, so,
You don't, okay. Because there's stuff that we haven't released to the public that have you talk about the AGs?
we're supposed to
When
have
did that be
access.
allowed?
At the last meeting, I shut down, I believe, your video because someone texted me saying that this is being live feeded.
Yeah,
Right.
And my issue was to shut him down was the fact that the AG is out for blood for the parties. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, he's getting our books and looking into it with fine tooth comb. And right now, the party is in trouble for several things which the treasurer can speak about that are done, misuse of our funds. We are very close to losing this office because of not making enough money in the Lincoln Day dinner and the way that our funds have been handled. And we were trying to allow the boards to get this information out to the PCO so the PCOs can make an educated decision on what's happening here. The issue of what is going on here is so detailed right now. I mean, we can sit here for hours and tell you all the reasons why
can
things.
I ask you a question?
Well,
I do
I'd like to
have one.
finish my sentence and then I will more than be happy to have you ask a question. That it is, the boards, we are empowered. And by the way, we are empowered and we are, as a board, fiduciarily responsible to make sure that our funds are handled properly. And maybe Suzanne can speak to that a little bit more, but I think Carolyn's not.
Can I add just to what she said?
Yeah.
Just real super and then short term. We're fiduciary responsible. We are a party that's taken only donations. So we need to be very careful with that and be very transparent with that because it needs to run this office. And I think we posted that it takes about $2,300 between the actual rent and all. And then after that, we need to be putting money into our candidates. So that's what I'm
You have
saying.
two problems with that.
Okay,
First of all, under Washington state law, the party cannot donate to candidates. The legislative districts can donate to candidates. Your legislative districts are your PAC.
okay.
You cannot form any other PAC. You can only have those PACs.
And I probably-
they are the only ones who are allowed to donate to candidates.
Correct, yes.
And if anything else has happened in the past, you're going to have an AG problem.
Right.
Now, other than that, moving forward, I was of the impression from a conversation just on Saturday that we were going to have access because we were PCOs. I'm sitting here listening to this board discussing my right to have access to documents like this board meeting or, in the minutes of this board meeting or whatever else substantiating documents. And I go online to the website. I don't have access.
I know.
I can't get it. And that's kind of not okay. And somebody keeps saying that the treasurer's reports are done, and other people keep saying they're not done, and people keep saying they're not on paper, and people keep saying they haven't been turned in, and I can't go find them, so.
I'll answer.
There's your
I
questions.
totally answer those. I love those questions. Thank you for your questions. Her question was, is it reality where are the reports, where are the board meetings? Awesome. So everything that we have, so a board meeting happens, and then the next time we come together and we say, hey guys, you approved these board meetings that I so diligently typed up, what do you think? And we actually sometimes read them, sometimes we just look at them, and we vote and say we accept them as is. Once they're accepted, they need to come to you guys. So at this very minute, we are approved up through July 15th.
They're not available online.
That's a piece where the chairman has been responsible for sending stuff out. And it is available to him, and it's available to the board, and you can ask any of us for them and we can send them to you. But truly, we thought the chairman was going to take care of this.
I was told they were online.
We were gonna try to address that issue of getting online, but unfortunately, we don't have anybody with the skills to do that on Nationville. We don't have a media and operations director right now. We don't have anybody with the skills to get them online.
All right, so something we can do is what we can, what's called proceed provisionally, which means we announce to everyone we do not have a quorum and the business here is not binding. However, it can be ratified at a later board meeting. If it is ratified, then it becomes effective. If not, then...
Point of information, does that mean that it can actually be accepted that the whole scenario took place, that the board then at that meeting would then accept?
What happened here?
All business has to stop the second that there's no quorum.
This is state committee minutes.
Well, he's in Robert rules and it says a provisional one.
All business has to stop the second there's no quorum.
Okay.
Could you read
No
that?
votes can be taken and no business can be conducted without a quorum.
Could you read?
Quorum is 50% or 60%?
50%.
Madam
Majority.
Secretary, I'm asking the member to read the provisional ruling that he is talking
I
about.
think
You might want to.
50% or 50%.
Speeding along to find it. You want me to
He
write
might
it?
want to just add it and then once it...
We're not in a hurry. We're not in a hurry. We don't have meeting happening. We are answering questions.
We're trying to figure out
We
how to
need
proceed.
to know, because that's what Robert.
Almost
rules
like
are
a
for.
town
We need
hall.
to be answering questions.
Of course, you could question whether one of the board members is actually legit.
Basically, this is just an open conversation at this point. This isn't
Exactly.
business.
This is not
But
business.
to suggest that it would be business is not going to be okay.
Well, he's hoping, he thought he had found it in Robert's rules where it's okay to conduct business.
Yeah,
I think I
took
remember seeing
that.
something about provisional, but yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Well, what about the fact that one of the voting board members resigned, though, and it's questionable as to whether that person has the...
Right, so he's trying to find out if you really have a quorum. I'm sorry.
So the bylaws say we have to have a majority to have a quorum. Right now, we have, most people would agree that we have 10 voting board members. The majority would be 6.
Okay, this is under proceedings in the absence of a quorum.
Page?
Section 40, page 348.
40, section 40,
What page number?
348.
page.
And the title was?
Proceedings in the absence of a quorum.
Oh. I've got that written down, go ahead.
The prohibition against transacting business in the absence of a quorum cannot be waived even by unanimous consent, and a notice cannot be validly given. If there is important business that should not be delayed until the next regular meeting, the assembly should fix the time and an adjournment of a meeting and adjourn. If instead the members present take action informally in the absence of a quorum, they do so at their own risk. Although the assembly can later ratify their action, it is under no obligation to do so.
So there is no business without a quorum. That's what you just read.
No, not
Yeah,
quite.
that's not
See,
what
that-
it said.
That's
not at all.
Members
That's not
take
what it
You
action
do so at
informally.
your own risk.
Yes, again, that's not what you just said.
I asked that we clarify this question by reading a little slower, Madam Secretary. Can the member read it slower?
Sure, which part, the whole thing?
The members present take action informally in the absence of a quorum. They do so at their own risk. Although the assembly can later ratify their actions, it is under no obligation to do so.
Read the line before that, please.
Thank you.
If there is important business that should not be delayed until the next regular meeting, the assembly should fix the time for an adjourned meeting and then adjourn.
And the line before that.
The assembly should,
Fix the time for an adjourned meeting and then adjourn.
so what I'm reading there is it may be possible to actually set a meeting?
Yes, and I'll go one before that, Carolyn.
Yes,
The prohibition against transacting business in the absence of a quorum cannot be waived even by unanimous consent, and a notice cannot be validly given.
That's the line.
About the notice, isn't there time to give a valid notice?
You can't waive the prohibition against doing business without a quorum. It doesn't matter if you all vote for it. It doesn't matter if we plug our ears, close our eyes, and beg you to continue.
Yeah, but Carolyn, that means you're ignoring everything that follows that
It
sentence,
says-
which is
okay,
not
right.
reasonable.
No,
It says, "Why do you think
the
that
sentence
you
is
have to
there for a
ratify their
reason.
action?"
Exactly.
So if the assembly can later ratify the action, then it seems that the business, as it says, can be informally conducted.
Informal.
I'm going to leave.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Because somebody turning around and slamming stuff and getting loud is not
That was the call to
acceptable.
order.
No, it's not. You're not in
It was.
We
charge.
don't have the gavel.
You are not in
Neither are
charge.
you, Carolyn, so feel free to leave.
And that
If you
the
want to be
quorum is
disruptive,
for.
you can
You know
leave.
what, though, she was talking, and she gave everyone else the respect that they deserve by letting them finish her request, and I don't feel that that was allowed by this PCO, as part of the Central Committee. You guys just shut down and obstructed her voice.
Okay, at a board meeting, she wouldn't have a voice anyway.
This is not a board meeting.
No, but it was her choice to leave.
It was her choice to leave, but Suzanne banging on the table.
That was just.
Because other people were
talking at the table and
We can debate this or continue on and do something that's going to
Madam
help
Secretary,
solve the
we're trying
situation, or
to
just argue about
conduct
why she
informal
left.
business here, and to conduct informal
She got triggered.
business, which we are,
She went to her
are the
seat.
5 of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, who was